Here we are again. How's it going, people? I told you I'd be back. And here I am. All right. This discussion is going to be about that list I was telling you about. All right. Now, granted, this list, now it's my list. Everybody's list is going to be different. Now, I'm going to give you some movies. Now, all of these aren't considered car movies. Some of them are just, they have cars in them. The main character isn't the car, and then some of the movies are. Now, granted, I'll give you this. Most of the movies from the 70s genre, the plot was about the car, or the car the dude was driving, or where he was going, that kind of thing, like Vanishing Point. He was driving a 71 Challenger 440 4-speed car. Most of the movie was about him driving and the car. There's your example. All right. So what I did was I wrote down, I went and looked at what Google considers the top 10 list to be, and it was garbage. Some of these movies weren't even anything I would consider. I mean, they had Bad Boys 2 on there. Okay, he had a Porsche, but that wasn't the car of the movie. I mean, the most of the time in the movie, you didn't even see the car till the beginning and the end of the movie. So no, didn't make the list. Not my list. The movie Cars, the kid movie. No. That wasn't. No, didn't make the cut. Wouldn't never make the cut because it's just not. That's not the same. Cars aren't real, and it's a cartoon movie, so no. They had a few other movies on there that just, I don't know who made this list. They had the Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. No, didn't make my list. Not that it wouldn't. It was dumb. It wasn't like Days of Thunder. Okay, Days of Thunder is an honorable mention, but we'll get to that. I'm going to give you the list of what I wrote down, which is all the movies that they were saying, and then I'm going to pick apart, or I'll pick the ones that are on my list, and I'll tell you why they're on my list, and for good reason. And there are some that I would put on my list, but I can only put 10, so then I'll give you the ones that I didn't add to my list. All right, here we go. This is just what I wrote them down. I went on their website and I looked, and this is what I got. All right. Speed Racer, The Gumball Rally, Hot Rod, 1979, Ford versus Ferrari, Senna, if you even know who the dude is, Days of Thunder, Bullet, Gone in 60 Seconds, the 1974 version, Gone in 60 Seconds, the 2000 version, Le Mans, 1971, Rush, Vanishing Point, Mad Max, The Road Warrior. These are two different movies. Smokey the Bandit, Cannonball Run, Stroker Ace, Hooper, Cannonball Run, Death Proof, American Graffiti, Two Lane Blacktop, Duel, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. Driven, Need for Speed, Hollywood Nights, The Car, Thunder Road, Grand Prix, Christine, Ferrari, Death Race 2000, 1975, Vanishing Point 1997 and 1971. There were two versions. Convoy, The Wraith, Corvette Summer, Drive Angry, Cobra, White Lightning, Catch Me If You Can, and The California Kid. Now, there was the list went on and on and on. A lot of the cars that were on this list, or a lot of the car movies, or movies that I would I wouldn't consider to be a car guy movie. My prerequisite for this would be the car is the most important thing in the movie. The car is the star, or you see the car more than anything, or you watch the movie because of the car or the said cars. So, my list consists of the movies that my father introduced me to. Now, granted, he grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Yeah, so a lot of the movies he watched, like, for instance, Robert Mitchum in Thunder Road. This is a black and white movie. Now, if you're all not as old as I am, or if you are older, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Thunder Road was about moonshine running, and let's be realistic, most of the moonshine runners' cars were not stock. They sounded awesome. They ran fast. They were good. They were quick. If you like movies like Thunder Road and Grease Lightning, about Wendell Scott and these people who were moonshine runners who became stock car drivers, and they built hot cars and that kind of thing, that would be your thing. All right. So most of the movies that he introduced me to were when I was a kid. So your California Kid came out in the 70s. Corvette Summer came out in the 70s. Two-Lane Blacktop came out in the 70s. Hollywood Nights, I think it was late 80s. American Graffiti. The Gumball Rally. Bullet. I mean, you had some. Now, I couldn't pick all of them. I can only pick the ones that I watch or would watch religiously and would hold as to be the top 10 best car movies that I think. Everybody's list is going to be different. And granted, my list would fluctuate because I can't watch the same movies all the time, but they don't put the movies that I would like on TV. I literally don't have time on video or something like that. So I do have the majority, if not all, of the movies that are on my list on video, save for one movie. And I'll tell you which one it is. Number 1, Two-Lane Blacktop. Come on. I mean, if you have never seen Two-Lane Blacktop, turn your man card in. Yeah, because that's the movie. 55 Chevrolet, 427, 2.4 sitting on it. They ride around the country, street racing for money. I mean, come on, you can't be a car dude and you've never seen Two-Lane Blacktop. Multiple, if not so many times, you know all the words. You know everybody's part. You know Warren Oates' part. You know James Taylor's part. Who's the driver? You know the mechanic's part. You know everybody's part. All right. Moving on from there. Two-Lane Blacktop. Number 2. Now, number 2 is going to be controversial because it was a TV movie. Yeah, it came on TV. In fact, it came on TV in 1979. And I saw it. Now, granted, a lot of people might have seen it when it came on TV, but I was actually there when it came on TV because me and my mom and my sister watched it on TV. I think it was NBC, ABC, one of them. Anyway, it was unusual for them to play something like this on TV. The movie was Hot Rod, 1979. Now, this had dual titles. It was Rebel of the Road, but known to Americans. Now, Rebel of the Road was what the Europeans called it. It's titled in Europe. But Hot Rod was what it was called because the title character drove a 1941 Willys with a Hemi with 2 4s on it. Yeah, street racing, all that. Yeah, all that sounds, Lots of cars in the movie. I mean, how could you not like it? It's my second because I kind of connect with that dude. My Garage Against the World. That's where I got that from because I watched that movie so many times that I know all the words. I know everybody's parts. I know Cannonball's parts. I know Brian's parts. I know everybody's parts. That's my movie. That's my go-to. So number 2 is my go-to. Granted, I got Two Lane Blacktop, but Hot Rod's my go-to. Number 3, it's kind of corny, but it's in my genre of cars. So I grew up in the 70s, Corvette Summer. Now it really isn't about the car. I like the idea of his work ethic. You know, he didn't have a girlfriend. It was all about cars. He was a gearhead through and through. He was so obsessed with cars, he didn't even have a girlfriend. He didn't have anything. He just dreamed about cars. That's all he dreamed about. So he built this Vette. And you're going through the movie, and the beginning is probably the best part because they go to this junkyard, and they're looking in the junkyard for a car to build, and he finds this Vette. And it's just a labor of love. Now, granted, 70s customs are way over the top, you know. It was all about who could be over the top. I mean, the paint jobs with the glitter in them and it was something. Now, granted, I came up in the 70s, so that was normal. That whole glitz and glam, and it's just wild paint jobs and stripes and all kinds of, candy and flames and yeah. Corvette Summer. It's number 3. The Gumball Rally. Now, there's a lot of you who don't know about the Gumball Rally. In the Gumball Rally, there were some bad cars. Okay? Yellow Camaro, small block in it, it screamed. The AC Cobra. The Ferrari, if you like Ferraris, but the number, there were Corvettes in there was a van, there was all kinds of cars in this big race, which was basically the Cannonball Run before the Cannonball Run. That's what the Gumball Rally was. So they started in New York. It ended in California on the where the Queen Mary was stationed, the boat. So basically, the Gumball Rally was before the Cannonball Run. And you've had some other movies that were offshoots of this. Before the Cannonball Run, which was called the Cannonball Run, they were all races from one end of the U.S. to the other end. And there wasn't even a cash prize. It was just a trophy. Well, in the Gumball Rally, it was just a trophy with gumballs in it with a turtle on top of it. And basically, they raced from one end to the other just for that trophy. Now, most of them had money. I mean, you could buy AC Cobra, you could buy a Daytona Ferrari, you could buy a Porsche. Back then, this is the 70s. So these weren't cars that were super expensive, but the average Joe wasn't riding around in them. You had to have a little bit of money. But the Gumball Rally, if you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. It's funny. I mean, there's plenty of high speed, the car and the sound of the cars racing at night. It's a car guy movie. Hollywood Nights is number 5. Another movie my dad introduced me to. Now, granted, there's lots of cars in Hollywood Nights. I mean, it's a car club. It's a guy movie, a car club, and they hang out at this drive-in, and there's all kinds of eye candy, all kinds. You got Tony Danza in Project X. If you don't know what Project X is, pick up a Hot Rod magazine. Now, the Hot Rod magazine you're going to read now ain't going to have it in it. You're going to have to go back some years. And I'm sure Hot Rod magazine is online, so you can go online and you have to do this with your finger until you get to the yellow 57 Chevrolet. And it's Project X. And it's been many iterations. It had a small block with a blower on it, and that's when I saw it. And that's what it looks like in Hollywood Nights. It's a small block with a blower on it. It's iconic. It's their project car. There's lots of other cars in there, GTOs, and there's the Pie Wagon. There's all kinds of cars in this movie. So Hollywood Nights, it's funny, it's amusing. It's the movie. Number 6, American Graffiti. Now, I'm kind of putting these on as because the time period for most of the movies that are on my list are in the 70s or late 80s. Save for Bullet and the California Kid. I'll get to that. But American Graffiti, I seen American Graffiti when I was a kid. Now, I'm 52 years old. So if I saw it when I was a kid and my dad introduced me to it, that means that it came out in 70 something. I can't think of when it came out. I didn't write down the year, but it came out when I was a kid. And of course, who isn't enthralled by Bob Falfa's 55, which is the same 55 from Two-Lane Blacktop. Now, granted, I didn't see Two-Lane Blacktop until later on, but it's on my list as number one because of the story and how it's set. Now, of course, nobody wants to be the bad guy and roll your car over and blow it up, but you didn't know that till you got to the end of American Graffiti. Now, we all knew Bob Falfa's car was bad. It was badass. It sounded good. Whatever was in it, which we didn't know at the time, was the same car as the other one, but it's not like he ever popped the hood and he talked about it. But sitting at the light, and he was camming, and he said, "Hey, man, prove it." And he hit it. You already knew. You knew he had more than Milner did. You knew he did. But it was a great story. Those two cars were badass. You know, it was a good movie. I liked it. It was a period movie. It fit my time period, so it's on my list. 7, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. This came out in 1971. This was before I was born. I was born in 1973, so this is still in my time period because later on, when Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry came on TV, when I was a kid, I saw it, which was a couple years later because, you know, everything is in rotation. You know, everything's a rerun. So by the time I saw it, my dad had already seen it, and he was like, "Well, you've never seen this." I said, "No, I've never seen it." But he's like, "You need to watch this. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry." There were cars in the movie, 2 in particular, and Larry was driving them. One was a Impala that supposedly had a 427 in it, and it was built, and it was quick, and he drove like a maniac. And then, of course, the iconic Charger that he drove. So you had a Chevrolet product and a Dodge product in this movie, and it was all about his driving style. And he drove fast, and there was a lot of car chasing, and you know, a lot of high revving, you know, engine noise and blah blah blah, and it just gets you, you were glued to the screen. So Crazy Mary or Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry was in my time period. So yeah. Christine. A lot of people sleep on Christine. I don't know why, but Christine had, you know, it had some pretty cool looking cars in it. Not to mention that Christine herself was a bad car. I mean, if you like, it's not that I'm not into Plymouths or anything, but Christine was clean, she was fast, she was powerful, and she was classy. She was also murderous, but you know, the 68 Camaro Buddy Ripper that was driving, it sounded pretty nasty. It had big old cam in it and all that. And then his buddy Dennis's Charger, the blue Charger, it sounded pretty good. So, you know, you had some interesting cars in the movie, so it wasn't just about Christine. The movie itself had some eye candy in it. So Christine is number 8. 9 is Bullet. You can't have Bullet not be on any list. Even if it's not number 1, it's on the list. It's a top 10. It's in there somewhere, wherever you want to put Bullet at. I could have put Bullet as number 1, but I didn't because that would make me being biased because Bullet he's driving a Mustang. Frank Bullett's driving a Mustang. I get it. You're like, oh, you got Bullet number 1 because he's got a 68 Mustang with a 390 in it and a 4-speed. No, I didn't put Bullet first, but I probably could have. Being as it's the best car scene chase movie of all time. That's what it's been touted as. I didn't say that. That's what they said. I'm only reiterating what was said. I like it because it is a pretty good car chase movie. I mean, you can't dispute that. I mean, it has some wild driving in it. But once again, Charger, Mustang, car chase, iconic, Bullet. Number 9. Number 10 is the California Kid. Now, California Kid came out in the 70s. I know. This is back to my time period of when I discussed this the other day. I said, you know how it seemed like the car culture had its time period where it was in music. I mean, you had Mustang Sally, you had little old lady driving the Pasadena and the Ford. They made music about people and their love of a car. They drove a car, whatever kind of car they had. The car culture had music intertwined in it. Well, they did movies the same way. So in the 70s, you had lots of movies. There's even some obscure movies that I didn't name here that I've seen that had some bad cars in them, but there's no mention of them because I could tell you about it and you're like, well, I ain't never seen that. And it's because it was an independent film that was made by not a Warner Brothers or MGM or any of these known big, conglomerates. So they didn't get a whole lot of play. Some of them went straight to VHS, but California Kid actually came on TV. Yeah. And me and Pop watched it. And then I watched it by myself. And the California Kid had Martin Sheen in it. He's driving I don't know if it's a 32 or 34 Ford. Had a flame job on it. Apparently the car was built by Pete Chaporis at SoCal Speed Shop. If you know anything about SoCal Speed Shop, it's famous. Pete Chaporis, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but Pete Chaporis started SoCal Speed Shop, and he built a lot of iconic cars. Well, the California Kid was one of them, and it was in a movie. Car sounded awesome. The plot was pretty normal. He went to see his brother. His brother was killed, and he was going into town to figure out what happened. Sheriff tried to kill him too. It was a good movie. You just had to watch it. But the star of the movie was the car, the way he drove it. You'd be surprised somebody would drive a car with big and littles on it like he was driving it. But this is back then. People had bigger cojones. I mean, they didn't crash as much, but then when they did, it was spectacular. I mean, you're legendary. You crashed out and ball of flame or whatever. But once again, that's my top 10 list. Just me. Most of them are from the 70s. A lot of them in the late 80s. I think Christine came out in the late 80s. Bullet was actually way before my time. California Kid probably was too. Two Lane Blacktop. Now some of these movies came out a year or two before I was born. So your Two Lane Blacktop and Hot Rod was 1979, and Corvette Summer was around 1978, 79, maybe 80, somewhere in there. The Gumball Rally clearly was in the 70s. It was. I didn't put the dates on them because they all had what year they were made, and some of them I wrote down and some of them I didn't. Here's my honorable mention list. Now, granted, I couldn't put everything on here, but I just wrote down a few that I like that I just didn't put on the list. Smokey and the Bandit. Okay, I love Smokey and the Bandit. Everybody does. Everybody can watch Smokey and the Bandit, and like I said on my previous video, if you ain't never seen Smokey and the Bandit, I don't know where you live at. I don't know who you are. You might be from up north, and that's not a thing. This is the South. Honey hush if you ain't never seen it. Mad Max. Now, if you've never seen Mad Max, the first one with Mel Gibson, before he became the Road Warrior, this is where he got the car in the first, from the second movie with the supercharger on. He pulled the button and it, okay. Mad Max, the first Mad Max. I personally like Mad Max. This is where you see where he becomes Mad Max and why he's Mad Max and what the heck happened to him to make him act that way. Honorable mention. Mad Max and the Road Warrior. Either one of those. Now that new Mad Max Fury Road is garbage. Don't even waste your time with that, because most of that stuff they made is just movie cars and they're just garbage. Just a little bit of this and that. You can't even tell what they are. Vanishing Point. Both of them. See, you got the 1971 version and 1997 version. The 1971 version is probably the best version because it's the original. The 1997 version has got Viggo Mortensen as the driver. It's pretty good, and they really didn't differentiate from it. other than it's just the time period. They even used the 1970 model Challenger, and it was white. They stayed pretty close, and the ending was pretty much the same. He crashed out. So either one of those versions is good. Now, this one is going to be a little controversial because, a lot of times it ain't about it being a car, but it's just that the movie had you on the edge of your seat. Now, if you ain't never seen it, it's Duel. It's a John Carpenter's first, I think it's a John Carpenter movie. Anyway, it's a movie about a dude. He passes a trucker, and this trucker tries to kill him. And whatever's in this truck, he can't outrun it. I mean, I don't know what's in it, but dude downshifts this truck and just comes out of nowhere on him, just 3Ds him. And you're like, wow, you'd have to see it. But it's a 70s movie. I think it came out in 1975, somewhere in there. It's got Dennis Weaver in it. Very amusing parts of it. I mean, to say the least, because me and my mom, my sister watched it, and there were times when we laughed at it because he was talking to himself, and it was amusing. You just had to check that out. Gone in 60 Seconds. Now, there's two versions of this. There's the Gone in 60 Seconds that was made in the 70s, and there's the Gone in 67 that was made in 2000. Most people prefer the 2000 version because it's got Nicolas Cage in it, and they recognize the characters in the 2000 version. You got Giovanni Ribisi, you got Angelina Jolie, you got Nicolas Cage, you got Robert Duvall. You got people that you've seen in other movies, and so you can relate to them. But the 71 version, you know, and he wrecked a lot of cars. The only car he even wrecked the Eleanor, and he beat it all to pieces. I mean, granted, in the 2000 version, it had a minimum amount of damage, and then when they dropped the crane on it, then you cried. But yeah, the two versions are night and day. Similar plot, still 50 cars, but you're probably not going to be able to connect with the older version. Need for Speed. Now, if you play video games, yeah, I know it's a stretch. I play video games. In fact, I have all the Need for Speeds because I'm a car guy. So I like playing driving games where I get to drive different cars. And in the Need for Speed games, there's all kinds of cars. Granted, in the Need for Speed Most Wanted game, you run from the cops. You know, either you get away from them or you don't. If you can drive, you can. You know, but that's another thing. But the Need for Speed movie had a whole bunch of cars in it. Now, if you like foreign cars, you know, McLaren, Bugatti, you know, they had the P1. They had what else? They had a Lamborghini, Sisto, Elemento. You know, they had some high dollar iron in that movie. Now, I'm not into the exotics. I mean, they're impressive, but for the money they should be. But the Mustang itself was impressive. I liked it. It looked good. It sounded good. He knew how to drive. He could drive. I put it on my list, but I didn't want to put it on my list because most of my stuff is old, and it wouldn't really fit in my top 10, considering it came later on. Now, if I was going to make a up-to-date top 10 list of what would be cool now, it'd be short. I don't even think I could find 10 movies. You know, you got the Ford versus Ferrari. I liked that movie. That was a good movie. It was good. It created a bit of sadness because, you know, people die anyway, but to die in a crash, you know, testing the car, it's pretty sad. You know, Ken Miles, and watching the movie, you can relate with him because he was passionate about building cars and going fast and pushing the envelope, and that's pretty much how he went out. But Ford vs Ferrari was a really good movie for this time period. So for an up-to-date movie, that probably would be my number one. And when I looked online, that was their number one, Ford vs Ferrari. And I'm like, okay, I can go along with that. But everything after that was garbage. I liked Driven as well with Sylvester Stallone, but and they said that the plot was silly. Well, no, it wasn't, because they didn't get it. What it was you had a driver who was starting to show cracks, and he needed a mentor, and so that's when Joe Tanto enters. He's been there, done that. You had Burt Reynolds in it. You had Til Schweiger. You had a whole bunch of different people in it, and I thought it was good. I liked it. I like it. I watch it whenever I watch my Tubi. I watch it. I like watching this. It's you got. Now, granted, an Indy car, they're pretty fast. F1 cars, they're fast. It was a good story. Now, granted, they're like, well, it's all CGI, this, that, and the other, but you can't really fake crashing a real car. So yeah, you're gonna need some CGI in it. But initially, a lot of the driving was them driving their own, footage of them filming races. But aside from that, I liked it. Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. Now, granted, I'm not a NASCAR enthusiast, but I can appreciate NASCAR. Now, granted, stock car racing. Now, I came up in the 70s, so stock car racing was really stock car racing back then. Cale Yarborough and Dale Earnhardt and A.J. Foyt and some of these other cats that were out there. The big steering wheel, roll cage, no windows, real stock car racing. They built the car in their backyard and they brought it out there and they put it on the track. That was real stock car racing. And I recall watching it as a kid. Now, when it became sanctioned, whatever, when they changed the name, when it stopped being stock car racing, I think we quit watching it. Because even my dad watched it and he didn't really care for watching the roundy round stuff, So, but when it was stock car racing, we watched it. Yeah. So I can appreciate Days of Thunder. The whole I'm dropping the hammer, Harry, and he dropped it and he took off. So yeah, I can appreciate Mr. Cruise in that movie. So Days of Thunder would have probably been on my list as far as if I was doing a genre specific of genre of movies. It would have been in the 80s. Now, you didn't have a whole lot of that going on because that wasn't a big thing. Guys weren't really into cars anymore. I don't know what happened. The 70s were a big explosion of sex, drug, rock and roll, and fast cars and that kind of thing. And then it just took a header. I don't know why. Hot Rod never died, though. Ironically, it just kind of went under the radar. You've always had drag strips. You've always had hot rodding. You've always had car shows. The World of Wheels has always been around. I know because I went to the World of Wheels when I was 5, and it's still going on, so that means that it never died. You've got California, any number of things going on there, and that's where hot rodding started. So pretty much that's where everything is based around hot rodding. All your major companies that make hot rod parts and, your major shops, you got guys like Chip Foose and Jimmy Shine, and of course SoCal Speed Shops was in California. Most of the big dudes that do that kind of work are still in California, and so that's where it thrives the biggest. Of course, it thrives everywhere, but it thrives bigger there because it's Southern California. Aside from that, that was my list. I had a few that I think are cool that don't necessarily make the list, but they have cool cars in them. Like Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage. He's driving a Charger. He escaped from hell. And the accountant at the end of the movie, he's driving a '55 Chevrolet, or is it a Riviera? Well, anyway, cool cars in it. It was an honorable mention. You got White Lightning. Almost all of Burt Reynolds' movies have something cool in them. White Lightning, he had an LTD that supposedly had a 427 and a 4-speed in it. These are all myths. These are all things that possibly could be, but if you're going period correct with the movie, that's what was in the car, and it ran. He ran moonshine in it, and this is before my time. Of course, my dad introduced me to White Lightning, and of course Hooper. You know, Hooper had some interesting cars in it, but most of his cars, even including Struck Race, you know, the race car and the Cannonball Run movies with Burt Reynolds. So Burt Reynolds being an icon with Smokey and the Bandit, and most of his stuff surrounded some kind of car or culture. Uh, uh, you know, then there's some that way before my time. You know, Grand Prix 1966. There was one with Le Mans. Le Mans had Steve McQueen in it. If you don't know who Steve McQueen is, you know, we need to have a talk. But he played in Bullet, but he also played in some other car movies about racing because he liked to race. He liked to ride motorcycles and race cars. So that's back when men were men. You know, we don't have too many dudes doing that now. But you know, you had the Wraith. I mean, it had that Dodge Interceptor in it. Nobody had ever seen that before. It's an honorable mention because my pop introduced me to that movie. I had never seen it before. Has he ever seen The Wraith? I said, no. What's that about? He said, you need to check it out. I checked it out. I was like, well, that's a pretty cool looking movie. Wasn't expecting it to be what it was, but it's an 80s movie, you know, so it fits the mold. But it was pretty good. It has some pretty cool cars in it for that time period. I mean, they weren't super fast, but the way the movie was set up, it was amusing to watch it. Of course, The Thunder Road, and you had any number of these other movies that were in that genre that were in black and white that I personally like black and white movies, but a lot of people, that's a turnoff to them. So automatically they're just not gonna watch it. Like for instance, Hot Rods to Hell. Most of you probably never seen that, and it came out in 1956, 57, something like that. It's around in there, and it's the vintage point is that the camera is pointing at it just like me, and the dad's driving in the car with the steering wheel, and everybody's sitting behind him, and every time something happens, the camera fans out to outside the car, and the hot rods are behind him, chasing after him, and that kind of thing. Yeah, you know, you could tell the time period and how film progressed from that point with that movie. But it was a decent movie. It was slightly amusing. Hot Rods to Hell, but it's old. You know, I think they colorized it, but there's a lot of movies that we in the car world consider that's a car guy movie. But you know, we can't forget the Fast franchise, and it started out, you know, JDME, you know, and then he went to the muscle cars, and it got good then. You know, he popped up in a Chevelle, and then he had Chargers, and he went completely opposite of what he started out in, was a Mazda, and you know, I don't have anything against the Fast and the Furious franchise. I think, if anything, it got away from the cars, and they turned into James Bond, and it got just ridiculous, and I hadn't even seen the last two because it got kind of stupid. But they did have some neat cars in it, and they had some cars that were iconic. You know, they got some cars that were actually built by real shop guys. You know, so yeah, a lot of the Fast and the Furious movies have some decent cars in them, and so they're an honorable mention. As far as time period, yeah, I would put them on my list now. If I was doing a late model list, they would be on my list because there's plenty of cars in those movies that are just bad, especially that Daytona he was driving, and then you know, Ladies Challenger, and you know, yeah, they got some bad iron. They went heavy with the American iron, got away from the import stuff, and that's good. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. But yeah, you really don't have any more movies now that are being made with us in mind. You know, we got to go looking for stuff, or we got to go back. We got to just go back and start finding videos and DVDs with stuff that they don't make anymore, and they're not making any movies that are catered to us. Thought about, you know, at one point going into film and just remaking movies that they don't make anymore, like remake Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry, or even the Gumball Rally, or you know, some of these other movies that people our age ain't never seen, and put, you know, some new really bad hot cars in them that would get their attention. But you know, it's a money thing. But anyway, that was my list, and then, you know, just I gave you the rundown of what they said theirs was, but that's my list. Now you can write down what your list is. Of course, leave it in the comments. Send me a message. I'll check it out. We all know everybody's list is gonna be different. Some of these people, some of y'all are younger than me, say some of this stuff y'all probably ain't never even heard of because they don't play it on TV anymore. I mean, it's not like it's in syndication and you have to go searching for it. But I've gave you the list, and you can look some of them up on Google, and they'll give you a rundown of what they think we like. And some of it ain't even, you know, it's not even watchable. You know, either it's about, you know, you got some movies that are so old, they're in black and white, and they're about people riding in open wheel cars. I ain't into that. I've watched them, not into it. It ain't even about the racing thing because the cars don't even sound good, and then the photography is bad. So it's not like, you know, and the sound quality is bad. But we don't need to get into that. That's my list. So leave a comment if you like the whole top 10 list, and that might be a new thing for you. I don't know if everybody watch TV, but I spent my whole childhood watching TV, car movies, and that kind of thing. There's lots of things I probably named off you ain't never heard of, or let alone seen. That doesn't make me old. That just means that you didn't watch a whole lot of TV that I did. But aside from that, if you like the video, leave a comment. Appreciate the comments I get. Everybody watches my videos, I appreciate you watching them. I try to keep my content fresh and neat and all that kind of rigmarole. Just make sure you hit the like button there. And I'll come up with something new for the next one. But yeah, if you get a chance, check out some of those movies. Now, granted, I know you got streaming services. I mean, some of them it's a shot. You punch in the name and it might pull it up, it might not. But you do know that you can go to YouTube and punch something in, and a lot of times it'll pull it up. You can watch the Gumball Rally on YouTube. You can watch Smokey and the Bandit. You can watch Vanishing Point. You can watch almost all the movies, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. That was actually on a streaming service. Can't remember which one. It might have been Hulu. But yeah, some of them have dipped down deep and pulled them out of the barrel, and here they are. You're like, wow, didn't even know that was there. So it's a shot in the dark. But if you want to see them and you're interested in what I've said, I mean, I'm trying to get you on to it. You know, maybe even get the kids involved. And go, man, I ain't never seen that before. Do it. Let me know how that works out. But keep between the ditches, and I'll catch y'all next time.